listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
I just want to say how, I know that the conversation about bras over the pandemic was, complicated. I think a lot of people decided that bras were out, no more bras.
Yeah.
And I'm just here to say that I managed to find a comfortable one, and
Exciting.
and I'm really enjoying it. I'm feeling like, look at me go. Look at me go.
Yeah, you're moving those shoulders as if you are unencumbered.
That's right. I saw Gillian Anderson, a quote from her today, and she said, "That's it. I'm never wearing a bra again. I can't wear them anymore. I never will." And I think after the pandemic, a lot of people have made decisions around the bra.
Well, and I don't blame anybody. I think it really depends on what you're working with, whether no bra is more comfortable or whether no bra actually causes you more pain because you don't have like the support.
Yeah.
I operate in between the two. I will often not wear a bra because even though I'm like a fat woman, I don't have the biggest chest. But like then but I have switched to bras that are padded and comfortable but have no underwire, and I only wear the underwire ones when I have to go out
Fancy.
for a special event.
Right.
Yeah. And then when I've holstered the girls in those underwires, holy crap! Like honestly, I actually was like, oh my god! Carlos went to hug me while I was wearing one of the underwire push-up bras, and he was like, oh my god, those haven't been around for a while. And I was like, yeah, no, I know.
Cosmo cover girl here.
It was intense. And not to brag, but I also have had like tons of sort of shifting feelings on bras as we've gone through the pandemic, and I like the discourse opening back up again. It's great.
I do too. I thought.
Yeah, but so Lisa, can you describe your journey to finding your bra that you love?
Well, okay. I would say that this one is not too padded, but it doesn't have an underwire, but it has a super amount of structure to it.
Yeah.
It's not flimsy at all. It's very, I wouldn't say it's a sexy bra. Not particularly, no. It's in a slate gray, which, most people don't say, what's really sexy in lingerie? The color gray. No one's probably
unless like they're really cool architects.
Yes, maybe then. Yeah, there's so but when I put it on, I was just amazed, and it's kind of a t-shirt material, I would say. It's not there's no lace. There's nary a lace or a bow or a bead.
I think lace irritates the skin when it's it's just pure contact.
Yeah, I
in
think
a bra.
so.
But I don't like it.
But so did you just go to a store and try a bunch on?
I went like, most people who don't want to be challenged very much. I went to the Bay because they've got a ridiculous number of different styles and different kinds. And if I wanted to
Did someone help you?
No, not this time. This time I just went knowing what I wanted, and I found it. And I have had someone help me many times before. And that I'm not to discredit that because it does work, and they are right. They're 100% right every single time. Even when I went to Victoria's Secret and I got fitted, it was really good, and I got some great bras. But this time I was in the shop, and I had never tried one of the structured with no underwire. I just didn't trust them.
Yeah, but they do work.
They do. Mm-hmm. I'm here to say that this might be the revolution that I've been looking for. Remember a few months ago, I couldn't find a lipstick, and then I found it, and now I think I might have found the bra.
Honestly, I switched to.
There's some.
Sorry, AG. I was gonna say I switched to underwire-free, padded, structured bra during. I took a risk. I ordered one from Torrid, and I loved it, and I've ordered a few since then.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's some story out there about how a lot of women are wearing the wrong bra.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Oh, those stories for sure. But every bra is very different too, right? And like I've been measured for certain bras and I'm supposed to be like X size, and then someone brings it to me and the cups are just like I can fit both my hands in plus the boob, you know? And people I think have an expectation because I have a very like I have a broad back, but I don't have the giant boobs that would go with a broad back like people think I do.
Yeah, I think like volume is a measurement that isn't taken into consideration.
Agreed completely. You should have like a literal like how many hands worth of boob do you have? And that should be a literal cup size. It's just like can your boob fill 2 cups or 1 cup or 3 cup? You know, like just that.
It's like the annoying thing about pants. When you buy pants, when the size goes up, for some reason they think you're taller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because you get a larger pant. Does it consider that you will be taller? Like that doesn't make any sense. I would like to know the first person who thought, as the sizes go up, we will make the pants longer. I would like to know who thought that up.
Great question.
I know that many people have asked it before me, but I'm asking it again. I'm imploring. Tell me.
I feel like men's pants acknowledge that you have a variety of leg lengths and a variety of waist lengths. And I know that it's not always enough in either direction, but they do a better job of acknowledging a variety of body shapes.
Yeah, you've got what? I mean, that's why you have to try so many pairs of, like, if you're just buying a pair of jeans, you have to try on probably, I mean, conservatively, 30 pairs because you're not sure.
Yeah.
And you can't go in just saying, I need this waist size because it's not going to work out. And you're going to be at the tailor again, like we all are. I don't go to the tailor. I just get them hemmed at the mall, but like normal people. But I like the idea of going to the tailor. I like talking to people who assume I can go to a tailor. I love that.
That is nice. I don't think I told you guys this. Maybe I did. You can tell me if I did, but many, many months ago, early this year, I hadn't stretched properly, and I had my bra was just stuck, and I couldn't get out of it. So I decided to really wrench my arms behind my back to try and unhook it, because Carlos was doing something, and I couldn't disturb him to just get his help. But anyway, I really wrenched my arms, and I ended up like kind of tearing the muscle in my upper arm. And I am only now mostly able to lift my arm above my head, but it still hurts and I'm still like healing from it.
Wow.
But that was a real bra injury from
I've never heard of a real bra injury.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how mad I was at my own arms. But yeah, it was just that I really violently went for it. And I mean, it also probably doesn't speak great to like my my failing physical strength and muscle health, but whatever, that's fine. But I really went for it with the bra and trying to get it off myself, and I'm never going to be that hero again.
No,
I've learned a lesson.
Good for you.
Well, I remember reading once Jane Fonda. She said, like, this was a few years ago. She was at an award show and was wearing like a really elaborate gown, and she came home and like she didn't have anyone to help her get out of it, and she couldn't unhook it or anything, so she had to sleep in it.
Oh!
Yes. Until someone came the next day to help her get out of it.
Yeah, it's weirdly like it's weirdly sad kind of to like I mean, it's fine. It's fine. We can all do things on our own and whatever. Sleeping in a ball gown's not the worst thing, and me having to get my own bra off, not the worst thing. I could have done it differently. I chose the wrong way. But, you know, anyway, it does give you pause for thought for a second to be like, am I so dependent on another person that I can't live my own life in a functional fashion?
That was rhetorical. You're not waiting for an answer, right?
No, I'm not. But I am going to say that's the perfect segue to Twilight and our final final film in this saga. what a journey, guys.
What a journey I
mean,
did not expect. I really did not.
I know. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
And you're listening to Pop This. And if we sound just both excited and broken, this is this is where Twilight has taken us. We are finally here. Breaking Dawn Part 2. The morning of our delivery has arrived, as has Bella's.
And this podcast arrives like after Halloween, so we extended our Halloween viewing series like a little too long.
So we could get all 5 episodes in. So we could have 10 and a half hours of our life we'd never get back.
Exactly. Like probably like this film series, we could have combined the last 2
We talked
episodes
about it,
into one
we
episode.
sort of talked about it briefly, and we decided, no, we're going to do all 5, and we're going to honor these films. This could be a short episode, maybe. We'll see.
But that's like a more noble reason than just, like the reason they did this movie is just to make another $1 billion.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They made so much money on this movie.
Yeah.
And it was utterly unnecessary. But this episode has absolutely more noble pursuits than that.
This movie has so much padding in it. It's like...
Yeah, you mean the little small world ride of vampires we meet?
Yeah. And the whole kind of like, I mean, spoiler alert, just like a complete fake out ending.
I honestly thought Lisa had frozen, and then I saw her blinking, and I was just like, she's still watching the film. This is what's happening.
I just don't, it was just so long, and...
This is like the second time I've seen that fake ending, and I still felt so disappointed, like equally disappointed the second time.
I still fell for it. I forgot that it was a fake out ending.
Yeah.
And I was so disappointed when I realized it was not the real ending.
I was surprised. I thought, wow, they're really going for it with this ending. Like, let's just get rid of everybody. Wow.
Then I was disappointed I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
But I must say that if there is a vampire, coalition union, this is very pro-vampire movie. Like, I couldn't see any reason why I wouldn't want to become a vampire. That's all I can say.
Yeah, there's not a lot of sort of, reason. Like, none of Jacob's arguments about Bella being, terrible because she's a vampire held up.
Yeah, I can't find, like, if you were to make me, I had to do a pro and con list of become a vampire, don't become a vampire. Honestly, what's on the don't? Like,
other than, it looks like a very fragile neck. Like, did you notice that it doesn't take a lot to rip off one of those suckers?
Well, they're super strong vampires.
I guess it just, I don't know. They look like Pez dispensers. It was ridiculous.
No, but that's the sort of weird thing about understanding their battle is they just have to twist each other's heads off and then it's done.
And you burn them.
I know. And burn them. But
you got to burn them.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, can you, what did they do with the
what were they even training about? What was that training about?
What were they training? And why do they always have to have the battle in the same open field?
Yeah, what is that an honor thing? Or
do they have to do it with their bare hands, or could they I guess no one knows.
It didn't seem like there were rules, and yet they used very little machinery. I didn't see, bring out a sword. A broadsword would really help with the whole head severing thing.
And honest to God, I have not seen the werewolves or the wolves do that much. I didn't find them to be particularly helpful.
Well, they don't let them be helpful because they're too busy being weird racist about how they smell in their human form.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, they want to reinforce the superiority of the vampire over the werewolf. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. And it makes you think, why are the wolves... there's no reason for them to be there.
The wolves don't owe these people anything. Bella turned real fast when she was talking about his... when she freaks out at Jacob and moronic wolfy claim, I thought that was quite harsh. I understand he has claimed her child. I get that, the imprinting is a bit of a shock. and she's managing some vamp feelings. But I thought it was she really showed her whole butt right away.
Yes, she did.
Like, she turned on him hella fast.
Yeah. I guess that is the only thing that we really, it's hard not to obsess over, is the whole imprinting. It is just, and the fact that Jacob's there all the time. Does he not have a job? Does he, like, I don't
Nope.
know? You don't have jobs?
None of them have jobs. Nobody in this. I guess Papa Cullen is a doctor.
Does he doctor
but-
other places? Just like, I make that a verb.
He's
Sorry.
a doctor that has a private island and private boats and
I think he spent some
private
time
planes.
accumulating wealth over his hundreds of years of existence, I guess.
Do they just make wise investments? Like, I don't even know how they make money.
I mean, I would imagine it's fairly easy if you just have lived forever and were able to just own things since before they cost money.
Yeah.
You know, they've learned how to game capitalism. They are benefiting hardcore from they're that legacy wealth. You know how like the statistic is like most of the richest people in North America are generationally wealthy, like they were just born into it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Cullens.
That is definitely the Cullens, who can
Yeah.
mysteriously find beautiful houses in the middle of a forest too. Like,
I mean, I'm beginning to believe they just built it themselves.
and just like I like how it was a gift. Like, here's a house full of a bunch of books that you've never read or
and beds
art
that you have no use for.
art you
for
have
the
no connection
sexing.
to.
The sexing.
Kitchen you will never use.
The kitchen you'll never
Kitchen you'll never use. Honestly, it was like, I know that they're trying to make Bella and Edward like seem horny for each other, but never in the history of film has a couple been like kind of less sexually compelling. Like, it was so unerotic to see them be able to.
I like the way you said that.
Erotic.
Yeah.
It was just
That was
like
more
so
erotic.
deeply unerotic. Yeah, honestly, maybe if either one of them could enunciate. And I also was like blown away by the idea. Like, it was so gross when Edward is like telling her that like vamps just love to go to Bone Town when they like fall for each other, and about how Rosalie and Emmett for the first 10 years of
we
their
didn't even
relationship
see them.
were like, just no one could stand to be around them because they're just constantly going at it. And I was like, this is the idea of a 12-year-old who has just learned about what sexual intercourse is. And they're just like, the writer was like, yeah, 10 years of hardcore boning. That's what's sexy.
Well, I was
Come
thinking
on.
that's the message of Christianity too. You just wait for marriage, right? And after
Do it for-
marriage, you just can do it and do it and do it,
Do it
all
and do
the
it
time.
and do it. Yeah, you're just like, until all your body parts fall off and then
Yeah.
they reattach because you're a vampire, and there's something endless about that. Oh my God. What a sniveling childlike idea of actual like sensuality. Like, I just could not handle it. I could not handle it at all. I was
I
just
just
so
always
upset.
want to think vampires are more interesting too than roaring fires in like a banal house that looks like it's been decorated by Home Depot. I mean,
Yeah, like, it didn't even have a Nancy Meyer's kitchen. What are you
No,
doing,
it didn't.
people? And I also just like young, hot people. I'm just going to go back to this for a second. I'm sorry, because I'm so upset. These young, hot people, I understand they'd broken up and it had been awkward, whatever. But these are two extremely attractive young people who do have chemistry because they had made their relationship work for a number of years off screen. They should look hot while they're having their vampire, especially their fresh vampire sex. Like Bella as a fresh newborn, gross, by the way, as a term, to like, yeah, like I can't wait to bang my newborn vamp wife. Like, that's gross. But anyways, like everything we're told about is she has like this appetite that's insatiable, and she feels everything and she sees everything, and everything is like so much more enhanced. And
again, I tell you, why would you not want to be a vampire?
why would you not want to be a vampire?
Yeah.
And also give us a little bit of that as like the driving stimulus between the two of them. I was very disappointed.
I continued to laugh so hard though whenever they show the vampires like speed running.
Oh, I do.
Anywhere?
In that dress, in her like
know.
weird, ugly
Her bare feet
dress,
climbing a rock face.
Oh my god, so funny.
I just could not
spider
believe that she
monkeying
would.
up that. Oh god.
She looked actually more insatiably at that deer than she did at Edward, to be honest.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, like, I thought again, there was like the only moment of like actual humor that's purposeful and not accidental is like when her and Jake are driving in the car and he is teasing her about the undeads and how like weird they are, and they have like, and it's like, it's not the funniest joke in the world, but whatever, they have like an honest moment of like laughter, and I was like, this is more intimate than anything we've seen so far with Bella and Edward. I don't know what Robert Pattinson's doing in this film, but like his weird asides about haven't decided yet, you know, to not kill you to Jacob, like even though the man has needlessly put himself in front of all kinds of different immortal people, you know, like, oh my God, what is...
It seems like he's barely in this movie.
Yeah.
I do like the line, though, should I call you dad? You know, that was funny.
That's, you know, Jacob,
Yeah.
I think Taylor Lautner delivers way more than he had to.
Yeah.
I can't even believe I'm saying it. Oh my God.
I can't believe he's there throughout the whole thing. I don't know what I would have thought of this movie if I'd only watched it as opposed to the other four coming up to it. Like I would
You'd have a lot of confusion at why you have a montage at the end of people who are not in the film, but who are getting credit sequences.
Yeah, what the heck was that? Talk about padding. I could not believe that.
That was a high school video yearbook come to life. It was so embarrassing.
I will
It was so...
remember you. I mean, I could not believe that.
You know what? We didn't do the background or the synopsis. Just a quick rewind. Would either of you enjoy reading the background?
Enjoy?
Sure.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Well,
The Twilight Saga Breaking Down Part 2 is a 2012 American romantic fantasy film directed by Bill Condon and based on the 2008 novel of the same name by Stephanie Meyer, and the fifth and final installment in the Twilight Saga film series. Part 2 was released on November 16th, 2012. The film, despite mixed critical reception, was a box office success, of course, grossing nearly $830 million worldwide against a production budget of $136 million, becoming the sixth highest grossing film of 2012 and the highest grossing film of the Twilight Saga series.
Wow.
whew, that's a lot to think about.
It is. All right. Well, I will take on the synopsis. So Bella,
Thank you.
as we know, played by Kristen Stewart, awakes as a vampire from her life-threatening labor, and her newborn daughter, Renesmee, which will never just roll off my tongue no matter how many times I say it, proves to...
Nessie then.
Yeah, Nessie, yeah. You call my daughter after a creature in Scotland?
How she could not figure out that Nessie is a reasonable short form for Renesmee, I'll never know, but okay.
Yeah, exactly. So it turns out Renesmee is very special indeed. While Bella adjusts to her new state of being, Renesmee experiences accelerated growth. When the Volturi learn of the baby's existence, they declare her to be an abomination and sentence the Cullens to death. Bella, Edward, and the rest of the clan seek help from allies around the world to protect their family. And that's from Rotten Tomatoes.
So I don't have any sense from watching the series of like how many vampires there are in the world. Like, what is the vampire population of the world?
No idea.
Ballpark.
No idea.
There's some bad ones that they didn't look up.
Is it like
are
100?
they? Yeah.
Is it 100? Is it 1,000? Is it 1,000,000? Is it more than that?
Honestly, could not tell you. It seems like there are factions of vampires that are against each other. Like, obviously, the Russian vampires hate the Italian Volturi, but we have no idea why. Why none of the Italian Volturi are Italian, I couldn't also speak to. I don't know. But the Russians definitely have to be Russian, and every other vampire that we see from our small worldwide of vampires is just I don't know. There's like just stereotypes and real
I
weird.
know, it's
Well,
so
Remy
bad.
Malek and Lee Pace were quite the surprises. Let me tell you, I was not expecting that.
I had not remembered them
And
at
is
all.
like one of them supposed to be like a Dracula?
I guess I don't know. I don't think
One of the two guys?
The tall one,
Oh,
I don't
of
know
the,
if
the
Pace?
Russians or Lee Pace or Remy Malek.
No, like they're maybe one of I don't know what maybe one of the Russians. Like there's a pair of dudes that were there for revenge.
The
'cause-
Russians, yeah.
Yeah.
The Russian vampires. Is one of them Dracula? I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Is it and the albino Dracula or the other one? Don't know. Couldn't. Those were.
I mean, Dracula should have been there for sure.
like,
Like he
Yeah.
is the most well-known vampire.
but I guess like he's like the star. He only comes out for really important things, and I think he could probably tell that this was going to be a waste of his freaking time.
Yeah,
I
this
should have
is
gone to Long
just
Island and
gonna
looked
be-
up the What We Do in Shadows crew. That would have been funnier.
I like, God, you guys, like such a nothing. This whole movie and the whole battle is such a nothing. Like, all they needed to do was have a quick 3-minute conversation where they explain our child was born while Bella was human because we didn't change her until she was almost dead. Like, that is such an easy conversation.
He could have sent an email.
Could have sent an email, could have sent a video, could have sent like whatever. Michael Sheen's character Arrow can read people's experiences by touching them.
Yeah, like he literally didn't have to speed walk from Italy to
No.
He didn't
see
need
for
to burn those
himself.
calories. He was fine.
Can I ask one important question, though, that was bothering me and I was trying to figure out? What does the name of this movie, Breaking Dawn, have to do with what we're watching? Like, where's the Breaking Dawn? Was it the fight scene?
I think
did
it's
it end
the
at
new-
dawn?
I think it's the new hope for the vampire human hybrid alliance, and I think it's supposed to be sort of like representing like a new beginning for people.
And so, other question. When do vampires like the Collins decide to drive Volvos, and when do they decide to run places? Like what do you
Right?
think the rationale is?
Great question.
Yeah.
I can
Or
only
fly
expect
through
it's-
the air.
Or
I mean,
fly through the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, great questions. I mean, I'm guessing it has to do with whether they've like been feeding or whether they haven't. So like maybe they take cars when they haven't been feeding as much and they're like lower energy. I don't know.
Do they just hang out all day? Or like, are they off doing, like, do they have projects? Do they have things to do?
Well, I mean, Alice and Jasper have a fake passport guy. So I mean, they must use
Well,
him for
Alice-
shenanigans.
Alice set up Bella's entire wifey life for her
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and her wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was her project.
Finding her those
Yeah.
shoes. That was a real.
That house.
Oh, that was the
The
last
house-
movie. Sorry, that was Breaking Dawn.
No, but the shoes we know they're
Yeah.
like the closet full of clothes that are only something I guess Alice seems like she would like, unless Bella Bella doesn't get to really have a personality, but I do feel like she gets to have a little more action and be a little more active in this film. Like I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but like maybe this movie is my favorite of all 5.
Really?
Wow. Okay.
Like the others are not good, guys. And I mean, I
Oh,
like
wow.
the
What
I would go with the
basis?
first one.
On what? Explain yourself. On
Yeah.
what basis?
I just feel like Bella finally gets her dream fulfilled of being a vampire, and she's finally like part of the action, not just like the recipient of constant sort of rescue missions. Like she's finally like part of the rescue mission, and she's getting to work on her gifts and develop powers out of nowhere. And
You just did air quotes around
Yeah,
the word
yeah.
gift for people listening.
I mean, I did emphasize it. I hope people could hear my. I hope
Air
people can hear my
quotes.
air quotes and my dripping sarcasm. But yeah, like I feel like Bella finally gets to live the life that she has been wanting for the last 4 movies, and even though it's deeply unsatisfying and frustrating to like have to hear Edward and his like crappy like, I've underestimated you, Bella. I didn't realize how strong you were. Like I didn't care for that personally, but it was, I think, something that like kind of needed to be said at this point. I mean, I think he could have delivered that earlier, and she didn't need to be a vampire for him to say that. It's a kind of crappy sort of like crappy attitude for your like new husband and the love of your life to have, but like it at least did something to like acknowledge that Bella is like a person.
You don't think her dad might be noticing some differences though? You know, I'd like to think a dad would be a little more attuned to his daughter and notice the big change.
I think Charlie notices, but he doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
Well,
they gave,
yeah,
gave her the contacts, which, you know, still, you know.
But this also, like we talked about in the last episode, about how it seems really there's like a lot of parallels to Bella just joining a cult.
Yeah,
in this
exactly.
movie. And I really thought about that a lot,
Yeah.
and why like Charlie there's not much he could do about it, because it just seems she has been taken up by a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you would imagine that, like, we don't know sort of really necessarily, like, the future is going to be a weird thing because Charlie's not allowed to know that she's a vampire, but he does know that werewolves exist now.
How about that scene where Taylor Lautner's just taking his clothes off?
I know.
I was alarmed watching it. It was so uncomfortable.
It was so uncomfortable. I thought Billy Burke did a pretty good job, actually. And the other thing I forgot to remind you guys of is that Billy Burke, who I'm not going to say is like the best in this film series at all, but do you guys remember him as like Lorelei's brief boyfriend who is opening a coffee shop? She meets him at... he's opening a coffee shop, and they date for like 4 episodes.
What season?
Season 3. Yeah, the end of season 3, like towards the end of season 3.
We're talking. We veered into Gilmore Girls.
Sorry,
now.
Of course,
Veering
all
Gilmore
roads
Girls.
lead back to Gilmore Girls.
I know. But Lorelai meets him when her and Suki go to hear about, you know, how to open an inn, and Suki runs into her former friend, and Billy Burke plays the guy who her friend is with. And then he calls Lorelai and asks her out, and they date for like 3 or 4 episodes. And they go to New York together, and Suki and Jackson go with them. He takes her fishing, but like Luke teaches her how to fish in like a pool in the front yard.
Wow. No, I don't.
I don't remember that.
No.
Yep. I thought Billy Burke did a pretty good job at having to deal with Taylor Lautner just like slowly undressing in front of him. And Taylor Lautner did a pretty good job of like trying to make that scene like a little bit funny, but also like understanding
there was no way around it.
Yeah, no, it's so uncomfortable.
But there were so many elements of this. Well, I mean, this whole series, I guess, but like, it's such a film made for the fans.
Yeah.
It's like the fans want this, and this. It's like the Homer Simpson car, where like Homer's building, like he's tasked by a car company to build his like ideal car, and he puts like 2 bubble sections on it, one separated for his kids so they can fight in the back. There's like 4 horns on it. It's
that's a very good analogy of this movie, because ultimately my conclusion after watching all 5 of these is these were not made for me. Nobody would have sat me down for a focus group.
Nope.
The only thing it's done for me is wish I could become a vampire. I can't see the downside of this existence. And
well, you're kind of violent in murdering people.
No, you eat the
only
animals.
if you want to be.
Only if you want to be.
You can do the Cullen animal route instead.
Yeah, you can just have deers and
but that's kind of violent and
mountain lions. Well, I eat meat now, so it's no less violent.
Yeah, but you're not killing.
No, but I
with
should.
Your bare hands.
Ethically, I should be out there just getting my own food, shouldn't I?
Yeah, I mean, the future is coming to that, perhaps. Can't wait to start having to hunt my own grub. I was troubled. Okay, although I will say, Lisa, you've also said that this makes vampires look very boring. So I know
Very
that you don't
basic.
necessarily want to have a basic, boring life
Yes.
either. So
no, that's it.
that's the thing. You would have to try and like decide how you're going to live an exciting life as a vampire. And I think you could do it. You don't have to like dye all your fake children's hair blonde and like have them be fornicators. Like you've got a different life that you can have
Even
as a vampire.
Even the other vampires don't seem to be particularly interesting because when they go to see them, they're always at home. Like they're just at home.
Well, they're looking after their long-term investment.
Yes. Except Lee Pace, who was out there at night just having a
Lee
snack.
He's living his best life.
Yeah,
he is a snack, and
Yeah,
he's
he
having
is.
a snack.
Yeah,
And he does look like he's having fun. But okay, so the thing that like kind of bothers me a little bit is, again, like, this is not as like obviously a film and a book series that is like necessarily calling people to be like become Mormons or anything. It's not as like obvious, I think, as like The Exorcist, like trying to get people to like go return to Catholic Church. It's not like as wearing its cross on its sleeve, but just the idea that like you have to assemble witnesses is just like very Mormon concept. Because what were these people witnessing? They did nothing.
I don't know.
None of these
I
people
couldn't tell
did
you.
really anything to like testify to the Volturi. Like, who, in what planet would them having experienced Renesmee's specialness, which was also pretty vague. Like, she touches people's cheeks and
I know.
what?
What does that prove?
Yeah, what happens? What does happen? What, do you feel something? Which would
I guess that she's warm, but like, why doesn't Renesmee have a smell? Remember the weird smell that like Bella had that was like making Edward look sick all the time in the first film?
Oh, her blood had some kind of
Yeah,
thing to it,
intoxicant?
yeah. And now we're looking for science to explain Renesmee. I don't know if that's possible.
Oh my god! Can I just tell you the most hilarious? So Carlos was listening to some other podcast about Breaking Dawn Part 2 this week. I have no idea why, but he
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so he came to me this morning and he was like, so like there's this theory that, you know, when Jacob says that it wasn't Bella that was like making him stay by her side for the, like, Bella didn't want him by her side for the last, like, through the pregnancy. It was actually Renesmee calling to him.
Mm-hmm.
The theory, someone was trying to propose a theory that like it's actually so deep, the imprinting process, that like it was actually the Renesmee egg in Bella all along that Jacob was attracted to, and that it was never about Bella. It was
Lord.
just the egg.
What?
And I laughed so hard, and I just incredible.
Oh my.
See, that's why I can't talk about this movie being like my quote unquote favorite of the series, such as it is, because it gave us all of these horrifying images, computer animated images of Renesmee that are forever burned into my brain, and I will never be able to unsee.
It is
I love
almost
it.
as if too the writers were sitting around and they really loved this idea of imprinting, and they were like, okay, we have really knocked it out of the park with this one. And then people went, won't it be kind of creepy for Jacob to be with a little girl? And they went, we'll make her age faster. Yes, that's right. We'll make her age faster so that it won't be so creepy that she is hanging out with her mom's ex.
Still so creepy that he carries her from like literal newborn status to like 8-year-old. He is still carrying her around in his arms, and that this is his future bride.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you appreciate that they did that like fast forward scene at the end so we could see them all together as couples?
I love the idea of double dating with your new partner who is your mom's ex and your mom and dad. I think that's exactly the dream of America.
So when you age though, like that fast, are you mentally aging that quickly as well? Because it doesn't, it's like dog's years, right? I mean,
I mean, I don't know if any of those vampires are going to pass a Mensa test in general, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's, I would expect yes, because like, but I mean, the brain grows, but you still need like actual experiences.
Yeah.
But I guess she was retaining experiences. Oh God, I can't even believe I'm going to say this.
In the womb?
She was.
Oh, now you're gonna like someone's gonna listen to this and tell someone else about your theory, and
No,
they
said it in the film. They said she's showing you her experience of you from when she was in the womb and why she loves you. Like, I mean, it is a overtly pro-life film for a vampire flick. Do the
wolves live a long time too? Is that something that they do, or do they have a natural lifespan?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. How old is Jacob going to be when he finally dies and Renesmee's still 18?
She might have time.
A lot of questions. I don't know. I thought that maybe he'd probably. I mean, I didn't see anyone in the wolf pack who was over 40.
No, do you just retire, or do you just die, or what happens? And don't ask me to go to the source material, because I'm not going
I would
to
never. My
read
God,
these at all.
No.
Despite the fact that you will find them anywhere, secondhand books are plentiful.
Yeah. I mean, I will say the reason I do think that there are a few reasons why this film is and again, favorite is such a loose term here, since it's like picking which piece of glass you like best in your foot. And this is the glass piece in my foot that I like the best, because I think that even though the battle sequence proves to be nothing and a big old waste of time, it's still at least something's happening.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and honestly, Michael Sheen's laugh, it's like a 3-second scene, but his laugh actually maybe rescued the entire film for me. The first film, it does a good job setting the stage, but it's like so painful on so many levels to watch. Like, the first film's my second favorite for sure. And I guess like number 4 is my third favorite, but only because of the birthing sequence. And then it's number 3, and then it's number 2.
Oh, you thought this out.
I just thought it out right now. I just talked it out with you guys right now. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to expose you to that, but
I will just say the first film was my favorite, and it was just downhill from there.
I was just gonna say that as well. I totally agree with you, Lisa.
Yeah.
It just
first one, there was a wild. If I had never even thought about vampires and things, I would have thought that was a crazy film. But then everything just got so weird and so uncomfortable so quickly.
But not weird and uncomfortable in a good way. In a really boring way.
Yeah, that's true. It has been a very boring 10.5 hours of my life.
But yeah, I just think also watching it at this point in time, like looking back on it, it's just like that movie, the last movie is so wrapped up in its own importance, because it knows that there are like millions of people waiting on tenterhooks for this movie to come out, and it's going to be all everyone's going to talk about, and it's going to like make $1 billion in like a week or something. And yeah, and it's just like, it's so, you can like, from the opening credits to the closing never-ending montage, it is like it is acting like it is the greatest film that's ever been shot, and will be in the canon of great films, like beloved by everybody for all time.
It cleaned up at the Teen Choice Awards. I mean,
it did, and the Razzies.
There you go, and the Razzies.
Honestly, I do think it's the greatest of the 5, which is weird, but I might have to die on that hill. But I mean, it's still terrible.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, this is also just like, think about that. Like this kind of actually like hurt me in my brain. This film is currently celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. In like a week and a half after this episode comes out, this film turns 10. It feels both so old, and how did the last 10 years just disappear this fast? Like, can you believe that the Twilight hysteria was like 15 years ago?
No.
It hurts my feelings.
But But the legacy of Twilight, like, look at all these things that it has wrought, like fan culture, like shipping couples like Team Jacob versus Team Edward.
And all the
50
like
Shades of
the Hunger
Grey.
Games and the
Yeah.
those other movies. I can't remember what they're called.
Well, and 50 Shades of Grey
Yeah.
directly.
Yeah.
Directly.
Yeah.
I mean,
And just like this sort of like,
I think we can also
It's,
credit it for overthrowing Roe v. Wade, by the way. I'm just going to put that out
yeah,
there.
yeah. You've mentioned that.
Wow. Okay.
Noted.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, just like this fans sort of shaping content of movies directed at them because they're the ones that are gonna make it a financial success. So that's the only driving creative reason behind making this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like fan service films are necessarily new, but I think fan service films with this kind of budget and this kind of like international blockbuster level return is the new thing. And that, unfortunately, like in our sort of like death capitalism culture, that gives them so much power. And yet, you know, I've seen reports from studios for the last like 7 years of different executives talking about, yeah, we'd be very interested in sequels. You know, as long as Stephanie Meyer wants to do them, we're going to like make that money, and they're just going to make tons of money off of these films. But we haven't had it yet. Like I'm surprised at the restraint that they have shown in not making more films. And
what do you think?
Not
like
Renesmee is
one yet.
perfect for the next, like for another series of books for sure.
I mean, truly.
Yeah, one would think.
Yeah. And like,
But you mean like making another series with like either side characters?
Yeah.
yeah.
or
Yeah, but she'd be the
whatever?
perfect.
Yeah.
You could cast anyone. I mean,
the actor herself is actually finally now basically 18 because
Yeah.
it's 10 years after the film was made. I don't know if
So like, what do you think Stephanie Meyer is not interested?
I mean, I was afraid to Google her and find out. I just was like, you know what? If I've had this happen before where I've Googled something to find out and then 3 months later, suddenly they're making the thing that I don't want them to make. And it's not that I think I have power, but I just don't want to like support the Google searches for her output. You know what I mean? Like, I'm afraid that if we all start talking about it, we'll just somehow like, I don't know, whisper it
Conjure
into
it up.
existence.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is the 10th anniversary, so I expect honestly that like there's going to be a bunch of stuff happening around maybe like this film this year and people talking about it a lot, and yeah.
I just Googled. I did it for you, and nothing came
Okay.
up when I Googled Twilight.
Okay, great.
Nothing.
Great.
Except for some quizzes.
Yeah.
Yeah, BuzzFeed
yeah.
quizzes and stuff, but that's about it.
What? See, you Googled Twilight and nothing came up?
Oh no, it came up, but nothing that you suggested. Like
She Googled it in Bing, that dead search engine.
Yeah.
I want that search engine. What were you using?
I just want to like reflect. I know we're gonna wrap up in just a minute, but like I just want to say the New Yorker critic, who I don't even want to name because like I don't imagine that they're standing by this. A feast of ripe dialogue and blood-sucking action. Ripe dialogue.
Well,
I would, like-
right. That's in stinky.
Well, I mean, I think at that point they should have said rank dialogue
Yeah.
or like fetid or whatever, like something.
Yes.
Or no, not fetid. Not fetid. Is it fetid? That means lush? No. Anyway, whatever. Something gross and rank and disgusting.
Fetid.
Is it fetid? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A feast of fetid dialogue, maybe, but I was shocked by that particular line.
Yeah.
I cannot handle it. Bus Magazine, I think, was more accurate. Quote, as much fun as I had watching this piece of trash, I have to admit that this is one of the top 5 worst movies I've ever seen. And I say this as a person who has read all of the books.
Well,
So, I mean,
Yeah, this could be one of the top 5 worst movies I've ever seen.
you
too.
really think it's worse than number 2 where nothing happens except Bella and Jake build a bike?
I just think it's so like the sort of offensive like offense to like intellectually, emotionally, visually with Renesmee. Like all of it is just too much.
I love looking at that creepy baby. I think it makes me it is like part of the horror that is missing in this franchise. And I understand that it's not purposeful, that they thought that they were doing something clever with CGI, that they thought
a sexy baby to you.
Yeah, a sexy
to
baby.
use a Taylor Swift ism.
It's it's yeah, but I love looking at baby Renesmee and how creepy they are. It's a never-ending horror show that I find kind of delightful.
Oh, it was a horror show. Yeah. Yeah, it was the one creepy baby. Yeah.
But like at least it's something happening, even if it's just like a creep fest grosso, you know? Like and that's why I like the last 20 minutes of the last film. Like it's gross and creepy and awful and like I mean, again, I stand by everything we talked about last week, which is that it's like a very awful film that feels terrible. But do I ever want to watch Jacob and Bella build a bike again for 2 hours? No.
No.
I can't. I'd rather look at that creepy baby than watch just nothing.
This is where we've come. This is where we are. These are our options.
I don't like how a lot of this movie also happened in that house of horrors.
Yeah.
With the surgical room and stuff.
No one cleaned up anything. They just went right back. How, like, all of these people who are obsessed with blood, they're not just sitting there licking the feast? Why aren't they there cleaning it up? What's going on?
Yeah, it's a good point. And it makes me kind of nauseous at the same time.
I know, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The whole, it being set in that house of horrors was also very distressing.
Yeah. I mean, the whole concept of everything about this film series is extremely distressing. And I think that is like a decent summary of our feelings on Twilight.
Yeah.
We are distressed. We are distressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. One word review, distressing is a perfect summary. So it does not pop for me.
No pops.
The whole series, are you saying, or just this movie?
Honestly, the whole series doesn't pop. I don't think it has given us anything good in the world.
Yeah, I don't find the series pops. I mean, I've enjoyed other series more. I find it really, excuse the pun here, distasteful. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I have to, as someone who like really enjoyed watching it the first time, you know, like with the view to it as like a sort of campy sort of film you love to hate kind of thing. This time around, it just didn't seem as funny.
We're in a different world than we
ridiculous.
were 7 to 10 years ago when you watched this. And I think, unfortunately, the social context of our current times makes it so that Twilight is even harder to swallow in 2022 than it was back then.
Yeah.
Which sucks. Didn't think we'd necessarily go so far backwards that it makes Twilight seem like it was prophetic. But there we are. Neat.
Yeah.
And distressing.
There we go.
Distressing.
Oh, God. Let's talk about things we do like. I have this open and I just want to, it's a real palate cleanser for me, so I'm going to go first if that's okay.
Yeah.
I would like to hype Jen Sukfang Lee's new book, Superfan. It's coming out in January 17th, 2023. You can pre-order it now. And there's an excerpt that I read on CBC Books. And it's so good. And it's I love Jen's writing. Full disclosure, she's my editor for a book I'm working on right now. But I've loved her writing well before that was our relationship. And this book called Superfan is about, I'm just going to quote from the CBC Books article, memoir in pieces that uses one woman's lifelong love affair with pop culture as a revelatory lens to explore family, identity, belonging, grief, and the power of female rage.
Love it.
Yay!
All right, well, I'll go. First of all, I will give my review of Ticket to Paradise, which I was going to last week. And I said, yes, George Clooney and Julia Roberts. And Hackoramas, I had a good time. I'm not going to try and sell this to you as a great movie, but I had a fantastic time. The popcorn was delicious. It was funny. It was light. And who doesn't want to spend 2 hours, or not even, it wasn't even 2 hours, with Julia Roberts and George Clooney. So there you are.
Great. I'm glad you had a good time.
Mm-hmm. But for my recommendation, I have just started reading a book, which I'm enjoying quite a bit, called I Love You, But I've Chosen Darkness. And it's by Clare, Vaye, Watkins. And if the title alone doesn't get you, I don't know what you need.
I feel like the title is a Stars song that I used to love.
Yeah, exactly. I love you, but I choose darkness. So that is what I'm reading right now and enjoying it quite a bit.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to recommend, I know this has been recommended last week, but I want to recommend the Buffy Sainte-Marie documentary, Carry It On, written and produced by our own Andrea Warner. I watched it this weekend and it was so enjoyable. It's such a great doc. You learn so much about the amazing Buffy Sainte-Marie. And even though, like I'd read the book and edited the audiobook, I found this documentary so enlightening. And and our own Andrea Warner is in it and is great.
Well, I'll watch it this week, and so I can recommend it the following week.
Keep it going.
Thanks, you guys.
I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a must watch.
Thank you. And I love Buffy so much, and I hope people watch it just so that they can just marvel and delight in her as much as, I've been lucky to over the last number of years. I'm really glad people are watching it. So thank you.
Fantastic. Well, what a fine way to end the episode. Even if we didn't love those movies, we have still fine things to love.
We had a nice time talking about them.
It was the journey. It was the journey.
It's the journey that counts.
Yes,
it
exactly.
Sure does. Yeah, it sure does. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. You can hang out with us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You could rate and review the podcast 5 stars on iTunes.
And thank you to Andrea Gin, our producer and co-host here. And thank you all for listening and going along on these journeys with us. It's really remarkable that you continue for all this time.
I mean, we do it to ourselves, but by then extension, we do it to you.
Yeah. And so thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.